Up with KREM begins now.
Hi everyone, good morning. It is 6 o'clock here on your Thursday, or as we like to say, Friday Eve around
Friday Eve.
Hi, I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Regan Gallo, and we also want to welcome all of you if you are streaming with us on KREM 2+. Now, Thomas Patrick, what is going on for our Thursday weather? Give us all the updates right now.
Yeah, today's not too different than it has been the last several days this week. A little bit more cloudy and maybe a chance of flurries for tonight. I'm not going to oversell it. It would be a dusting at most, so I wouldn't exactly get those snowman making materials out for tonight. But hey, something better than nothing. Still 20 degrees right now, so it is chilly as of this morning. There is still some frost on the cars that are parked outside. It's actually not as bad as it has been recently here, as you see. Not as many single digits on the map compared to these last couple days.
And here's a live look at the traffic impact this morning. We are on I-90 in Hamilton. Looks like things are flowing pretty well. And like Thomas Patrick says, it's just going to be pretty cold outside. On Up with KREM, we bring you traffic and weather together every 30 minutes. We start with breaking news from overnight. One person is dead after an apartment fire in Spokane Valley.
Yeah, neighbors called 911 just before 8 o'clock last night, reporting a tree on fire near East Sprague and Bowdish. KREM 2 spoke to one of those neighbors.
I was just playing games with my friend, and then out of the left side of my slider, I just see a big old flash of light, bunch of fire and smoke blasting out. And from there, I was immediately worried.
Spokane Valley Fire tells KREM 2 when they arrived, the fire had moved to the apartment building. As crews worked to put out those flames, they made their way down to the ground floor where they found one person dead. It is important to note Spokane Valley Fire is not saying how the person died. They are also working to identify who that person was. Right now, Spokane Valley Fire is investigating. Happening today in about 2 hours, the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students will be back in court.
KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones joins us from the newsroom this morning. Brandon, what's the latest from these Brian Coburger hearings?
Yeah, good morning, Tim, Regan. Well, today Judge Stephen Hippler is scheduled to hear arguments about specific evidence. That includes investigative genetic genealogy, possibly being admitted at trial. As some background, prosecutors are pushing back against Coburger's attorney claims that investigators improperly gathered key evidence in the case. They're asking the judge to deny the defense's request to exclude the evidence in question from trial. Over this past weekend, more than a dozen highly technical responses were published. Prosecutors claim searches of Coburger and his property were appropriate and should be allowed to help prove the charges filed against him. The defense says only being given incomplete disclosures will, quote, greatly prejudice Mr. Coburger. As for that hearing today, that's expected to begin at 8 a.m. this morning. So if any new details come from this hearing, we'll keep you updated across all KREM 2 platforms. But for now, reporting live here in the newsroom, I'm Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
Well, yesterday there was another hearing for Brian Coburger.
Judge Stephen Hippler denied a request from multimedia organizations requesting full access to the next 2 hearings. During yesterday's hearing, attorneys on both sides of the case argued whether or not the public should have the right to observe all proceedings in the case. Coburger and his attorneys support making the proceedings public to protect the integrity of the process. But Judge Hippler says that could make it difficult to find jurors before trial.
Both parties' rights to a fair trial is paramount, as is the public's right to know. But I also have to weigh that against the ability to have a fair trial by getting a jury panel that has not been tainted by the publication of widespread publication of evidence that may not be admissible at trial.
Judge Hippler says media outlets and the public won't be allowed access when sensitive information is being discussed.
6:05 this morning, Spokane Public Schools is sounding the alarm on illegal sports recruiting.
Yeah, in an email to parents, SPS says many parents don't know it's happening. And according to the WIAA, illegal recruiting is trying to entice student athletes to either move schools or stay at a school based on athletic talent or ability. SPS says what may look like a transfer could be a move that the school can't legally disclose. The WIAA president says not only is there risk to competitive balance of leagues, but it's also not worth it.
What do parents need to know? Like 1.3% of students actually earn scholarships. And of those, a very, very small percent earn Division I, and an even smaller percent earn a full scholarship. So don't chase ghosts.
SBS says it's important to communicate openly about fair play. Plus, if you suspect any recruiting violations, report them directly to Spokane Public Schools through their Let's Talk platform. Public school leaders across Spokane County are warning that the state's budget is on the decline.
So yesterday they met for their inaugural State of Education address. Education officials report the budget has slipped down to 42% of the state's operating budget. It used to be around 52% back in 2019. The Riverside School District Superintendent Ken Russell shared his worries at yesterday's address.
So my worry, like others, is that we're not going to be able to maintain the expenditures that we need to run a solid K-12 educational system, mainly going to staff.
Meanwhile, the Central Valley School District says they are making headway on putting more college courses within a high school campus. And the Deer Park School District says they are expanding school counselor assistants to engage more students in their post-high school planning. This morning, California firefighters are working to maintain the upper hand on the new rapidly moving wildfire.
It's being called the Hughes Fire, and it swept through mountains north of Los Angeles. This morning, more than 50,000 people are under evacuation orders or warnings. The Hughes Fire broke out yesterday morning and in less than a day has already charred nearly 16 square miles, which is about the size of Coeur d'Alene. Through the region was under a red flag warning for critical fire risk, and officials say they were still able to fight the fire from air.
The winds were strong, but they were not those 70, 80, 90 mile an hour winds that we experienced on Tuesday the 7th.
Crews continue to contain the deadly Eaton and Palisades fire that are burning for a third week now. Fire crews are staying on high alert. They are concerned that those fires could break their containment lines. As firefighters continue watching for hot spots, red flag warnings were extended through tomorrow morning.
6:08, another look at our local weather forecast, where our current temperatures are hovering right around 20 degrees as of this morning. Got officially 20 in Spokane and 21 in Coeur d'Alene. Warm spot Valley Forward at 27 degrees for a current temperature. That is not feeling too bad. Certainly not as cold as it has been through the first half of this week. It'll remain mostly cloudy through the day today, but temperatures are still expected in the mid-30s by the afternoon.